what the big deal about Cracker Jack is. Did you ever go and buy a pack of Cracker Jack thinking you're going to get a prize and find no prize in the box?
You got to be kidding me. You have got to be kidding me.
Freehand is beating his net at the plate. Crawford is over there watching. Good see, sir. You're in the wrong seat, buddy. Come on. Oh, I must be in the front row.
Hey, how's everyone doing out there? Welcome to a Wordhole Media presentation of Enemy of My Enemy. I'm MVP.
I'm Ryan. You are in the hole, I guess, still with Enemy of My Enemy at enemyball.com and enemyball.shop. Forgot to mention this. I probably wasn't even alive. It wasn't even alive last show, but
it was
the Undead show. Yeah. We've got a shop up now where we sell some merch. We've got some t-shirts, got some hoodies, got some long sleeves, a couple of hats. I tried to send you a hat yesterday, actually, but it was going to send to your address with my name on it. So I didn't know if that would make it to your doorstep or not. So I'll work that out. I don't know. I'll actually get your input instead of just sending you a hat, since there are a couple different options. But so yeah, check us out on enemyball.shop as well these days. Get some cool stuff. I'm gonna try. I did a thing called New Merch Monday. I had a t-shirt design idea, Talking Skulls. I'm gonna try to put something new up every Monday.
Nice.
Just to keep things fresh. Or maybe if I get lazy, I'll just feature something that hasn't been featured yet that's already up there. So yeah, I mean, we don't sell much. We had a shop for Major League A-holes, but we didn't sell much. I think we've got over 5 years. I think we have $50 sitting in the accounts that we need to cash out at some point. But yeah, if you guys want to help out the show, support the show, this is a hobby. Clearly, we don't make money off of it. We are clearly not professionals. But if you want to help offset some of our costs, this is not free by any means. There's hosting fees and Zencaster and other weird stuff, domain names that there's some cost to it, but that's a hobby. It's fun. So, but if you wanted to help show your support and spread the word with our name, logos, materials on fancy new t-shirts and sweatshirts, go ahead. The holidays are coming up. Make a great gift. Enemy of My Enemy merch, swag under the tree. Beyond that, housekeeping news. We had a World Series. Did you watch much of the World Series?
Yeah, I mean, I gotta say, I'm not happy with the outcome, but I was happy with how competitive and exciting those games were. It's one of the better World Series I can remember in a while.
There's been debate. I don't know if the whole series qualifies, but at least Game 7 may have been the greatest Game 7 in World Series history. I'm, of course, biased because I always say it was 2016, of course, extra innings, rain delay, speech by Christian Hayward, and the Cubs killing a 108-year curse. So I don't know how those compare, but I also heard people talk about 1991. I remember watching that. I was 18, I guess. So, but I wasn't a huge baseball fan at that point. But that was one incredible series between the Braves and Twins. But I don't know. I had fun watching this. I was not really. We last show we gave Blue Jays fans some reason for hope why they might be able to compete. At least it didn't look like it was going to be a competitive series going in, but it certainly was. And honestly, the Blue Jays could have won that.
Yeah.
In Game 6, they could have won it in multiple ways. They were within inches of winning it in multiple ways in multiple games. So, in Game 6, where the ball gets lodged in the padding, that would have been a double or triple that would have tied the game most likely and potentially led to the winning run. Then in Game 7, the base running play, people are trying to call it a blunder, or the guy didn't get a big enough lead off of third base and got thrown out at home on the force play by inches. If he had one step closer to home plate in his lead, he might have been in safe. But you don't want to get doubled off at that point. The third base coach told him exactly where to stand for his lead. So I think that's debatable and kind of armchair manager, Tuesday morning manager, whatever you could call it. Kind of looking at the results and parsing everything to your advantage, but. I think everyone was rooting for the Blue Jays outside of Orange County. 51 million people were watching Game 7 at one point between Japan, of course, Canada, and the United States. So we weren't alone. But I was happily entertained by that World Series.
Yeah. If every World Series were that entertaining, it would probably make, we'd probably see a lot more viewership every year. But yeah, I mean, in the end, what happened? The team with the most talent won. I mean,
The most money.
And the most money spent. Did they end up spending the most money, or did the Mets spend the most money?
It was more than the Mets. I'm almost positive.
Okay, yeah. So
I saw something. They're paying more in luxury tax than most teams' full payroll. I mean, in penalties, they're paying that, and they just don't give a fuck because they're going to ruin baseball like they wanted to, like they said they wanted to. So, congrats to the fucking Dodgers.
Congrats. Thank you for making the upcoming labor discussions even more complicated.
Yeah, that's going to be, I mean, it already is a huge theme. It's going to continue to be the theme, but I just want to shout out to the Toronto fans. I have no affinity for the Blue Jays or whatever, but I just can't imagine being that close to winning the World Series on so many different moments that just all conspired and went against you. I mean, my Tiger fandom has put me through some painful World Series, but they weren't even close. I mean, Tigers have played 9 World Series games in the last 20 years and they won one of them. So that was one glorious start by Kenny Rogers at Comerica Park in Game 2 of 2006 World Series. But it was never like, oh, we're on the precipice of almost winning the goddamn whole thing. And the Blue Jays went at least 3 times. It may have been 4 or 5 where they thought they had just won the World Series and it had taken away from them. So brutal. But speaking of my Tigers, there's been a little bit of news here and there about Skubal. We did a quick segment about Skubal, the big options that the Tigers have in front of them and how they're actually in a really good spot, despite what people might want to say about it. There's been no news other than reckless speculation. I heard Jeff Passan on ESPN the other day said that for the first time I had ever heard is that Skubal wants to stay in Detroit. So I don't know if he's just being contrarian or I have not heard that any place, but everything we've heard is, and of course by his actions, hiring Scott Boras would be, he's looking for the biggest payday wherever it happens to be. So I that gives reason for a little bit of hope, I guess, that the Tigers could hold on to him, but I think that's doubtful. I think a trade is probably in the works, but they're in a solid space for that because they could just hold on to him this year and go for it in 2026 with the best pitcher in baseball. So they're not going to be forced into a bad situation. I don't think so. That'll play out. That's probably going to take quite a while for that whole situation to play out through the offseason. I don't think we're going to see a sign, or maybe nothing happens, and we just go into spring training as status quo. So the other Tigers stuff I want to talk about is on the minor league level. I don't know if you watch the Arizona Fall League much.
I do not.
It's on MLB Network, and I don't watch it. I just started paying attention because the Tigers are well represented there. It's essentially a all-star teams of minor league players that spend the month of November, late October and November in Arizona. In fact, I saw 21 players on World Series rosters this year were former Arizona Fall League players. So
interesting.
It's well represented. But the now 2-time hitter of the week is Kevin McGonigle, Tigers' top prospect, the number 2 hitting prospect in all of baseball, number 2 prospect in all of baseball. Shortstop, third baseman, second baseman. It's kind of hard to say where he's kind of been all over the place. They've been giving him reps at third base lately throughout this fall, Arizona Fall League. But he started the Fall Star game this past weekend at shortstop because the Tigers had another prospect, Max Anderson, playing third base for the Fall Stars. So McGonigle won hitter of the week twice already in 5 weeks. They're going into their playoffs this week, I think, and it ends next week from today. But in 17 games, he's got a 1248 OPS, 5 home runs, 20 RBI, 19 runs scored, 3 stolen bases. It's just clearly the best hitter of the minors right now. So he's living up to his number 2 prospect billing. So really positive sign. It makes me think he is certainly on track. He's definitely going to be at spring training. But he's on track to make the big club next year. And I think everyone thought that he would be up at some point next year in 2026, but I think he's going to be there opening day. Whether it's shortstop, I doubt. Third base is interesting that they've been playing him there this fall, getting reps at third. Seems like the perfect fit for the Tigers. That's a place of deficiency. I read a lot of experts think he's eventually a second baseman. He's just not. He's got a strong arm, but he's just not a great defensive shortstop. So that's why they're talking about moving him around. What's interesting about that is the current Tigers second baseman, Gleyber Torres, was on a 1-year deal, but the Tigers have offered him a qualifying offer, which is kind of a theme for this week. That happened last week, and I think everyone that's been offered a qualifying offer has until a week from today to make their decision. So we're going to get a lot of news next week with that playing out. So it's interesting. A qualifying offer means the way it works out this year, it's just over $22 million for 1 year, which would be a big pay increase for Torres. So I think he would probably accept that. But again, like you mentioned, it's all under the specter of the looming labor strife in the next year. So I don't know. For speculation, like a bunch of players aren't going to want to sign a 1-year deal because they're going to want to sign a giant, long-term contract, to get through whatever happens in 2027 and beyond, or whatever the landscape looks like. But I don't know how many teams are going to be offering that. So I wonder if everyone that's been given a qualifying offer is just going to sign, so they have $22 million in the bank this final year before everything goes to shit. I wouldn't mind if the Tigers signed Torres. He was at times their best hitter, at least the most consistent hitter. So it'd be nice to have that kind of stability in the center of the infield. And he's a fine second baseman. He's not a Gold Glove winner or anything, but it just gives him some depth there. And then if he doesn't accept, I mean, maybe McGonigle plays there. If not, Colt Keith, who's supposed to be their second baseman, has been kind of moved around a little bit too. So Tigers have a bunch of options, and the good news is McGonigle amongst Max Anderson, Max Clark coming down the pipe. They've got a lot of fucking talent right here, right now. That's going to be interesting to see how Scott Harris moves those chess pieces around. That's basically all I've got for the Tigers.
Fun fact for you.
What do you got?
McGonigle. It's the name of a character in the Harry Potter books.
Oh, he's also in like a bit part in The Simpsons too. He's like a Dirty Harry.
Yeah, that's character. Right. He McGonigle. Is. I forgot about that. Yeah. So there you go.
I'll be sure to pull that clip at some point.
It's the possibilities are endless for this podcast once McGonigle is in the Tigers lineup on a daily basis.
The problem is the artificial intelligence is catching up to us and ripping our shit off, our content offline when I rip other people off. So
that's true. So rip off diligently. I mean, I guess I also share your speculation that a lot of these players may just take these qualifying offers knowing.
I would, but
I mean, why wouldn't? So while you're on strike, you got to live off $22 million. I'm crying for you. I mean, Jesus, come on.
And I've read that the Players Association has seen this coming. They've advised their union to be hoarding cash for the last several years. So it's not like I just don't know how people blow through 22 million or millions, but it happens.
Apparently, we'll be getting to that in a little bit. Asshole segment. I mean,
yeah, exactly. So, yeah, I think. Well, it's November 18th is when decisions have to be made on by the players and if they've received it. I think there's been 13 qualifying offers across Major League Baseball, so we'll hear about those. But that comes up again in our Cubs segment. But I want to give you some time. I've been monopolizing the conversation.
Yes, I have so much to say this week. Not really, because the Brewers are very quiet. They're hibernating in the cold weather of Wisconsin with the snowstorms rolling through. So
I see though that you've got like a grill in your background now.
I do. For those of you who watch us on YouTube, you've seen the set changes over the years. For me, I've been pretty constant as of late, but with the addition of the Brewers, and as anyone who's been up to the ballpark knows, it's
American Family.
Yeah, American Family now.
Is that what it's called?
No longer the appropriately named Miller Park.
Yeah, Miller Park was perfect.
It was perfect, but whatever. It probably even squashes a tailgate scene at a White Sox game. It is an intense tailgate scene on the level of football or college games.
Yeah, one game I went to up there, it was definitely intense. I think Southside's got pretty strong tailgating game. Northside has 0.
Yes. But I've put the portable tailgating grill I've used at the White Sox game before onto the set in honor of the Brewers. That's my first piece of Brewers, merchandise, so to speak, but to bring the Brewers into the set. So
I was gonna say you could probably get a matching championship banner for the Brewers, but they don't have any.
Oh, so burn! Oh, smoke!
And so the shit talk begins.
Smoke! Whoa!
Sorry about that.
Anyway, speaking of shit talk, Smitty was pointing this out. I try to avoid Chicago sports radio during Bears season because it's pretty unbearable. So I haven't been listening. But
I see what you did there.
It's unbearable. In White Sox news, no surprise, Smitty and I called this weeks ago that months ago, the Sox picked up the $20 million option on Luis Roberts' contract. I don't see anything wrong with it, but apparently other people do for some reason. They have the money.
Yeah.
There is still some crazy possibility he could have some trade value if all the pieces fell into place, but what do you have nothing to lose by giving him $20 million. It's not slowing the direction the team's going in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, we talked about it at the trade deadline when they did not trade him. They had no choice but to sign him long term, or not long term, but to pick up the option for the year because they're running it to the very end to see if they can get any trade value out of him. It's $20 million, which doesn't affect anything besides Jerry's pocketbook. I've heard Sox fans, specifically Lawrence Holmes on the Spiegel and Holmes show on 670 The Score afternoons there in Chicago. A lifelong White Sox fan was livid about it, and it's like, how are you caught off guard by this? Like they had no other choice. Well, I mean, essentially, and I made the argument 3 months ago that Chris Getz backed himself into a corner.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not like this is a great option, but they have no other options at this point. Lawrence Holmes was freaking out about the $20 million, and he's using the argument, well, you could have gotten two better players potentially for $10 million a piece, which is not inaccurate. Because $20 million is definitely an overpay for how often injured Luis Robert is and what little production you've got out of him, inconsistent production. But your payroll now has ballooned to $59 million with this.
Oh my God!
For 2026 with this addition.
I know, exactly. Shut the fuck up, folks.
Go get your two different $10 million free agents, and now you're up to $79 million.
My goodness.
What Holmes was saying, it's kind of paranoid, and maybe not paranoid, maybe justified, but he's saying that though Jerry and the White Sox will say, well, we can't spend any more money because of this $20 million, which is fucking ridiculous. Your payroll has been over $100 million for, just 3 years ago, two or 3 years ago. So I think Lawrence Holmes and other Sox fans that are freaking out about this either weren't paying attention, which I don't think is the case with Holmes, or just have their latent rage against Jerry and the White Sox, just want to be angry about something. Cause this is a foregone conclusion. As soon as he didn't get traded at the deadline, they were going to have to do this. It's not a burden. It only affects Jerry's pocketbook, and it should not affect what they want to do in free agency at all.
Yeah, I don't again, I don't want to keep repeating myself, but it's real simple here. You letting them walk away because of Getz backing himself in the corner is, to me, more dumb than picking up the $20 million, because there always is the what if. I did find Guts' quote. Did you know that? You see the quote? You hear the quote from the Zoom?
No.
I'm going to read it because
good.
it'll be enjoyable. We're planning on him being in a White Sox uniform, Guts said during a Tuesday evening Zoom. What he did in the second half was very indicative of what he's capable of doing and how that can impact our team. You look at the production we had when he was in the lineup, and oftentimes it helped us win baseball games. Now, the part of this I find funny is, yes, it is very indicative because he ended up in the second half with a grade 2 hamstring strain.
Yeah.
So that's very indicative of what Luis Robert could do with the White Sox.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. So, Chris, you were dead on. When he's in the lineup, he was very productive in the second half, but he's also very injured in the second half. So it's all exactly what you'd get out of Luis Robert.
Yeah, he's not lying.
You're not lying, Chris. It's very indicative of his performance.
There's another aspect to this that I should have done more research on, but there is a minimal level of salary that every team has to have going into a season, which they've got to be flirting with, being in the $50 million range. So I think they had to spend that $20 million just to get up to the threshold even, and then everything else is gravy after that. If they receive that, I'm sorry, I'm thinking this through on the air.
If they receive the sharing, right?
Yeah, if they so I doubt that the White Sox would, because they're certainly not in a small market, even though they perpetually act like a small market team. So I'm not sure what that situation is. So maybe they don't have to spend a fucking dime, but I don't know if it may have been a mitigating factor, but it's still ridiculous that your payroll is now up to $59 million and people are freaking out about it.
And come on, guys, let's not forget, we've got new money in the White Sox ownership group. We got the Ishbia brothers money. So, I mean, it may be different. I'm not saying it's going to be, but there's a hopeful Sox fan in me that says, okay, we got Luis Robert. It was the only thing you could do, smart or not smart. It was the only thing you could do. To your point, it's only got him $59 million in right now.
Yeah.
To me, I'm looking at you probably, again, the optimistic side, you got like $40 million to spend there.
Seems like it.
Right? Be right at $100 million. That's at the minimum you should be if you're the White Sox. The minimum should be $100 million in on the team.
I doubt it's going to get that high, but there's definitely going to be more free agents added. There's no reason why it can't, for sure. So there's no reason not to be a little bit more optimistic as a Sox fan. Mainly because you guys suffered so many fucking pitching injuries going into the offseason, or going into spring training essentially last year.
Yeah,
you lost a ton of arms that should be coming back. It should be, and you saw your 20 game improvement this past year. I don't know that you can extrapolate that to another 20 game improvement.
I sure can, just like that.
Yeah. So now you're going to be 500. So
yeah. See, it's that easy. We're 500 guys. After we spend our $40 million, I got us banked on. I got it booked.
I was going to do a whole show about, where free agents might go, but that's what everybody's doing right now. And nobody has any fucking idea, especially with the weird situation happening on the horizon with the potential lockout. So, I mean, I wouldn't even know what free agents would be interested in going to the South Side or who would be available. We've got a lot of things that need to play out. We mentioned it briefly last show. I was hoping this could be a crazy, fast free agent season where trades are happening and all sorts of stuff happening quick. And I'm starting to realize or believe that this is going to be another one of those seasons where nothing happens until February, or by the time training camp starts,
right? Or
pitchers and catchers are reporting, or player games are happening in Florida and Arizona. I fear that it's going to be a cold stove throughout this winter, which is a bummer, but I guess I could be totally wrong. If that's all you've got for your White Sox, I'd like to move to the north side of Chicago, where there's been a few different pieces of news.
All right, let's hear it.
Kyle Tucker received a qualifying offer from the Chicago Cubs for $22 million in 1 year. Do you think he's going to accept that?
I'm going to go with no.
I think no.
I'm going hard on the no, by the way. I'm going all in. The Texas
Yeah.
Hold'em, I'm putting all my chips in on no on that one.
Well, and every publication has him as the top free agent available this offseason. So I don't, and his whole plan has always been to get the money cannon deal.
10-year 429 is what I saw. What? Really?
Fuck that. No.
No. No.
I mean, the Cubs should be interested in should be in the running to re-sign him. They won't be, most likely. I mean, honestly, every team should be. The Tigers could be involved. They most likely will not. But I would I'd offer him. I'd be happy with a 6-year, whatever the money is. But I don't want the 10 years. 10 years is a death sentence, and I fucking hate those deals for the teams I root for. So give him however much you want, however much he wants per year, but limit to 6 years. That's a good deal. But I think I've seen the Dodgers are now getting involved, and that's where they don't give a fuck about 10 years or $400-500 million. And then you've always got the Mets sitting out there and the Yankees. So we'll see about that. But I doubt it's just ridiculous that the Cubs aren't a favorite to re-sign him. And it's just the reality of the situation of how ownership operates. So there was another qualifying offer given to Shota Imanaga, but it's a lot more complicated than that. I don't know if you read about this, how his contract situation, the Cubs actually declined a team option that would have given him 3 more years and $57 million, which I think was a very shrewd maneuver by Jed Hoyer over there. Shota Imanaga would not be worth that money at all. As good as his the start of the season in last year was, and 2 years ago, he was a disaster down the stretch.
He was.
He was giving up 2 home runs a game, basically from the end of August through September and into the playoffs, including he gave up 3 home runs total in the playoffs, but 2 in Game 2 of the champion or the division series against your Brewers, which was a devastating blow. You can't trust him. And the funny part is, once the Cubs declined the team option, that activated his ability to exercise a player option for 1 year and $15 million, which is about what I think he's worth, considering what free agent pitchers were going for last offseason. Well, he declined that, which I thought was kind of shocking. I thought he should have accepted that. There is some acrimony potential. I don't know. I'm having a harder and harder time believing things I see in social media. So I don't know how valid this is, but it was reported there was some acrimony about from Shota's camp about being rushed back into service after a hamstring injury this season. And they're saying that is what caused his decline in the second half. And I'm not sure I buy that. And I think that's kind of gross if that is true, that he's saying that, or his camp is saying that, because you don't have to go out there and pitch. If you are injured, the club can't put a gun to your head and force you out to the mound every 5 days. So I feel that's a little disingenuous, and that's probably just bullshit come from his agent, which is unfortunate. But so he declined that option, but the Cubs countered with another qualifying offer. Again, it's all $22 million, which would be a drastic overpay, I think, for him. And he should probably accept that. I think what the whole thing is everybody wants a multi-year deal going in, certainly with the uncertainty past 2026. So that's his argument. I'd be shocked if he turns that down. But it's not a great deal for the Cubs, but like the old saying goes, there are no bad 1-year deals. So they could absorb this $22 million. And he'd be certainly a serviceable number 3, no, not number 3 anymore. I'd call him a 4 or 5 starter. It'd be a really expensive 4 or 5 starter, but that would give you some rotation depth, at least, or maintain some rotation depth. So I understand why the Cubs did it. I wouldn't really understand why Shota would reject it. So I'd be surprised unless he just is hell bent on getting a multi-year deal, which I'm not sure is out there. He'd be doing well to take this qualifying offer. I don't know. You probably don't give a shit about what's happening on the north side with all their deals, but did you have any thoughts?
My only thought is
that a no?
no. I think greed and some these players they always think they're worth more than they really are. I also think there's this whole the span of the actual average span of a Major League Baseball player is like 7 years or something like that.
Well, and he's already 32.
Yeah, so if he can lock in a multi-year deal, I think he's gonna do it, even if it's probably $15 million a year, but it's multiple years.
Yeah,
you know?
He'd rather have that than the 22-1.
Yeah. So again, I would just
he'd rather have it, but
yeah,
I'd like to have Chrissy Turlington give me a blowjob right now.
Wow.
But that's a Rounders quote. I think I've used that on this before.
Yes, it is a Rounders quote.
So, I mean, you say, greed or whatever, and the players think they're worth more than they are. They're worth what the market will bear. And I think the argument Shota is just gambling that there's more of a market out there for him, obtaining a multi-year deal, whatever it is. I think 2 years, $15 million a piece, 3 years, $45 million. That seems crazy to me. So I think he might be overvaluing what his actual value is on the market, but
yeah,
I guess we'll see.
Yeah. Again, like the idea that someone wouldn't take $22 million for 1 year of playing and be able to work with that for the rest of their lives is really disturbing.
Well, yeah, equally part of that equation might be our next story here, that we're going to continue our tradition that we've had for the last 5 years, at least on the podcast, and naming our asshole of the year, kind of taking a look at we do our weekly asshole of the week, or we try to, and usually have quite a list by the end of the season, come up with who's the ultimate asshole for the entire year. Past winners include Jerry Reinsdorf, of course.
Yeah.
Who else did we had?
Ron Manfred.
Ron Manfred could win it every year, but we've limited the voting. We only gave it to him one time. Regardless, this year I think, and it's kind of the story of sports in 2025, is a gambling scandal. I lost you. You there?
Yeah. Sorry.
That's fine. I think the story of 2025 was, in all of sports, is a gambling scandal across basically every Major League sport we have, but it has certainly affected Major League Baseball, as we talked about and made him asshole of the week about 2 or 3 months ago. Emmanuel Clase, for kind of a bizarre gambling scandal that we just learned much more about this week. Actually, yesterday, I think all the news came out. So it was kind of perfectly timed to make Emmanuel Clase and Luis Ortiz, his Guardians teammate, our assholes of the year. Clase and Ortiz were put on paid administrative leave or something like that.
Yeah,
they were getting paid,
Yes.
not really suspended, but back in August, I think before the trade deadline even, because they were involved in a gambling investigation where apparently there was a situation where you can bet on individual pitches.
Sure can.
To be a strike or a ball, which I didn't realize. I'm not a gambler. You know more about it than me, and I'm probably not qualified to talk about this stuff. I don't understand it. How insane it would be to be betting on individual pitches, or what kind of degenerate you'd have to be to have action on every single pitch of a game, not just the game itself.
So there's a variety of things that are offered now. There's live bets, which is what you're
That's
talking
what this is called. Okay.
One aspect, it's a live bet at a sports book. It could be on some of the lower life sports books, to your point, the more shadier casinos, the not as reputable casinos, they literally just have dry erase boards with
Oh my
things
God.
written on them that you can like bet futures and things like that. Like you name it, you can bet it. And they probably have, and I know this is a common one that if Emmanuel Clase pitches in the game, his first pitch will be in the dirt or whatever.
I think it was as simple as it was either going to be a ball or a strike. But
that's one you can bet anywhere.
He clearly made sure there was no doubt, as it's been revealed and shown multiple times. I think this federal investigation revealed that there was eight times that I believe it was his first pitch of his outing.
Yep.
Which would usually be his closer in the ninth. So 7 out of the 8 times, well, actually 8 out of 8 times, he threw it in the dirt and sometimes in the grass in front of the dirt to make sure it was nowhere close to being a strike. But it only worked out 7 of the 8 times because I forget who it was, but they swung at the pitch somehow. They were so freaked out by his 103-mile-an-hour fastball. So it was counted a strike. And there's actually, that's kind of what cinched the Fed's case, because there's text messages going between Clase and this gambling ring, talking about that pitch itself. He's like, well, I mean, I threw it in the ground, but the guy swung at it. What can you do? And I think that was all done through emojis or memes or GIFs and stuff, but it was clear what they were talking about. So this is fascinating. And it was, we knew a lot of this stuff back this summer, but we didn't know the full details that came out this week, which are just mind blowing. And that's what's led to pretty easy case to make him our asshole of the year. Is the money involved is so minimal, considering Clase has signed a $20 million 4-year contract. I don't know what he made before that, but he's clearly a multimillionaire. The total of the gambling wins by this consortium, or I don't know what you call it, cabal, was only $460,000. So I don't know how these transactions work out. Obviously, Clase is owed a cut of that. Would you think it's 50%? Like, I
don't know. No idea on that. I can't speculate on that, but he's the one doing all the work.
You're from the Chicago. How do you not know how these things work?
He's doing all the work, but the part I don't remember, was he investing any of his own money?
That part hasn't been revealed yet. No, I doubt it. I think these gamblers just said, hey, we'll give you a cut if you fix these pitches for us. And he's like, fuck yeah. Apparently
I'm in. I can't live off of my $4 or $5 million a year with, on top of that, just real quick to nail home how ludicrous this is. That contract was upwards of $38 million with all the bonuses.
Oh,
which he was a good enough pitcher. He has he
was the best closer in baseball for the last couple of years.
Yeah.
So.
He can hit all of those milestones, but he gave it all up for some cut of less than $500,000. I mean, what the fuck is wrong with people?
Well, it's not even just the money now, because now this is a federal investigation where he was indicted and on the lam, I guess.
He's not. Luis turned himself in, right?
Because he was in the United States. Ortiz has been arrested. The last I knew, Clase is in the Dominican Republic, which I don't know if he's on the run there or if there's extradition processes happening or what's going on there. There's going to be more to that story. But not only the ridiculous amount of money they may or may not have received for this, they're facing 65 years in prison apiece. So they've ruined their lives over 8 pitches, at least Clase specifically, to, I don't know, give their buddies or somebody a little wet their beak. I don't know what you refer to it as, but it's insane. It's insanely stupid. It's incredible, and that's why it's easy to call them our assholes of the year.
Yeah, I mean, like you gave up your baseball career for what? I mean,
they might be giving up their lives.
Yeah,
I mean,
true. Yeah, that's true. 65 years. Yeah.
Baseball's one thing, but federal fucking penitentiary. My God. So there's going to be a lot playing out with this. I know less about Luis Ortiz, just because wasn't the best closer in baseball. So, and I did see his salary was only it's below $1 million, but it was still 700 something thousand. So it's not paltry money. So I could understand his wanting to be involved in this stuff just to make a little more money, but it just really spells out. And like I said, we're seeing this across all sports right now, just with the legalizing of gambling, that there's scandals all over the place that we're just scratching the surface of, I think. It makes you wonder if they're going to get rid of live betting or whatever those prop bets are weird. If you can, something that's so easily manipulated by one person in a game should be removed. But at the same time, the irony of all this is legalizing gambling is what is literally exposed all these things, because the feds are involved and they have to investigate all this. So all this shit was happening, before there was legalized gambling. There was no way to look into it because it was all happening underground. So
right.
I don't know what the solution is. I mean, everyone's going to run to blame legalized gambling, but I almost think it's a good thing that this shit's being exposed. If you take away betting on a ball or a strike being thrown, does that just push it back underground and then we wouldn't know what's happening? I don't know how that works. So do you bet on games? You do parlays. I think I've heard that you could have pick a money line and then, have Class A throw in a first pitch ball and parlay that. I wonder if they'll eliminate those things. Is that seem like a solution? Do you have any idea how this could be solved?
I think if you took away a bunch of the prop bets and just made them like normal, what happens if every one of the prop bets, something good had to happen, right? Like what happens if you could only bet like it's a first pitch strike? You know what I mean? Home runs.
That's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, so, I don't bet on anything weird. I only bet like home runs and strikeouts and winners and losers and things like that.
Yeah.
But like, and same thing with like football, like rushing yards and passing yards and stuff like that. Like you're right. There's a obsessive degenerate side to someone who is like saying, the over under on balls and strikes in an inning, or what the first thing of the game is going to be. And
if you eliminate the negative, I guess you wouldn't be able to get money on the other side of it though. So I don't know if the casinos could handle that.
I think I don't know. I just think like maybe you take out this idea that you're betting on a specific pitch versus an overall outcome. And I think that's where it gets eliminated, right?
Yeah, I think that's
if you're just betting like someone's going to get 6 strikeouts or they're going to walk 6 guys, well, I don't know. I guess someone could pitch enough balls to walk 6 guys, but it gets
a lot more complicated than just throwing a ball into the dirt.
Yeah, but like the totality of it is where the final outcome of someone's outing or something is where you can start, in my opinion, you can start to like mitigate these things, but I don't think they'd ever all go away,
Yeah, I think
even a home run, like if the pitcher was in on it, we saw from the White Sox throwing the World Series that you could groove a ball to a batter, and if the batter knew, like if someone said the fastball is going to be coming down the middle on a third pitch, okay.
Yeah. He's still got to hit it though.
Yeah, so no, that's true.
That's why I like your idea. And I think you're on the right track for sure. Like what we're going to see in the future is like just limiting such obvious things that are way too easy for one person to manipulate. 100%. Class A, 100% decided he could throw the ball into the dirt, and there's nothing anyone else on the field could do about it. So I think you're on the right track there. We're gonna save the sports world. Good job.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm here for. I'm here to get things on the right track. They should bring me in to get this labor agreement taken care of.
I think you and I could figure this out quickly.
I can mitigate this shit, and we can keep baseball going.
Yeah. So come to enemy of my enemy to save the world. So, but I think that this discussion has made it ultimately clear that Emmanuel Clase is our asshole of the year 2025.
Giving up $38 million and his life.
Yeah,
as
boy.
he goes to prison, unless he remains on the lam.
Yeah, that might be a better option. Just kind of stay in the Dominican. I don't know how easy it is to hide there, but
just do a little fugitive action.
You could change his name. We've seen that happen in baseball before. So, yeah, who knows what's going to happen. Say hello to Miguel Sanchez.
I do see the possibility of a Longest Yard type movie, though. Clase goes to prison and starts a baseball team, and then,
they play football?
No, they play baseball.
Don't get the longest yard?
They play baseballs. Dummy.
Well, on that note, I think we can wrap up this quick episode 177 of Enemy of My Enemy. We just wanted to get something out there after the World Series before free agency hopefully heats up like crazy next week. This week we're getting the awards are coming out. I think Rookie of the Year was last night. Manager of the Year, I believe, is tonight. I would, of course, give that to AJ Hinch, but I don't think that's going to happen.
I'm going Will Venable.
Yeah, why not? Huge 20-game improvement over the previous season, so it was all him.
Exactly.
So, yeah, we'll have stuff to talk about hopefully soon with our next show. In the meantime, you can find us all across social media and on the web at Enemy Ball and enemyball.com. You can find our merch, as I mentioned at the beginning of the show. Lots of fresh merch over at enemyball.shop. You can find us on YouTube, youtube.com/@enemyball. I think that's how it works. You'll find us. And you can find this podcast anywhere you'd like to find a podcast. So with that, I'm going to declare this podcast is over. Peace.
One guy poured beer all over my head. The guy said, "How can you take that?" I said, "Look, that man didn't do nothing. He poured some beer on my head. He's just showing he's a White Sox fan. There ain't nothing wrong with that."
Sparky, a million thanks for, as always, the most interesting interview. And now today, let's just have a lot of thrilling baseball and not so many fisticuffs.
Word Hole Media.